So, ready to go? Right. All right. I'll call call to order the third Tuesday, April 14th, 2026 meeting of the Patent Free Library Board of Trustees. First item on the agenda is the Secretary's report, the minutes of the March 10th meeting, 2026. Are there any comments, suggestions, changes, edits to the minutes?
Yep.
Tommy.
The date is off by 900 years.
Oh, yeah.
Fix that.
Okay.
Minor.
It's easy to fit the 9 instead of it's 9. Oh, yeah.
I had one, it's just a proofreading change under committee reports, consent agenda, and then monthly report. The second sentence, it starts out, the book looks forward to the revamping. I think that's the board, I assume.
Yeah.
Section?
What? Yeah.
Committee reports, then
Oh,
consent
monthly
agenda,
report. Oh,
monthly
yeah.
report.
Boy, oh boy, yeah, the book.
Yeah.
But the board's later on though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then under new business, under the regarding the teen librarian hiring timeframe, didn't we, maybe I'm wrong, didn't we go ahead and okay that for the job to be advertised with no delay?
Yeah,
Thought we
I think
did.
we did, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says Leslie would like to move ahead, and I think the board concurred with that and said, okay, so we could make that change. Are there any other changes, suggestions to the minutes? Is there a motion to accept the minutes as amended? Anthony?
So moved.
Second.
Tommy, all in favor? Minutes are moved as amended. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? I do not have any. Move on. I've only one comment this evening, and that is to say that I found Elizabeth's section of the monthly staff report, the March metrics, very impressive.
Yeah.
About the continuing growth in library use. I mean, it's a trend that we've seen really without exception for quite a while, but I think it gave us much food for thought regarding the increased usage of and therefore the demands on the library.
Exactly.
The teen librarian position is a good step, good first step, trying to address some of that, but of course it's not sufficient in itself. So that's my comment. Move on to the librarian's report.
Okay, I've got a couple things I wanted to talk about. One thing, at last Friday's executive committee meeting, I was talking about the things that I'm doing for staff for National Library Week to show appreciation. And so he suggested that I just bring that up with the board to let you know. So if the board would like to engage in any way in that and those activities, just to let me know. So basically, I don't want to give anything away, my secrets. But next week I have some things planned during the week to celebrate staff. And then on May 8th, a Friday, we're doing a tie and trivia night at the library in the reading room after hours. So those are the things we're doing, and we've got some special things for each day of next week. So if the board wants to engage, in any way, just let me know. So that's the first thing. And then I wanted to kind of give you an update about the reimagined spaces, but from the architectural design side and next steps. And of course, Rebecca will be talking about the fundraising side of our campaign. But I wanted to give you kind of a little bit of update on some changes that have happened and sort of what the next steps and where we're headed. So as you know, we've been working with Simon's Architects just on the concept drawings, which, as I've said all along, are literally just concepts. They're just ideas, things we'd like to see. And so Scott, actually, who we've been working with, retired in mid-March, which I just found out about. But he's got a very solid, his Simon's Architects has been around for a long time, and other architects within the firm have been working with libraries as well. In fact, they've got a project with Scott, which is not involved in, working with the Curtis Library, doing a similar project to us on a smaller scale about sort of improving on the customer experience and moving their front desk and moving some things around to better serve their patrons when they come into the library. So Scott Simons is working on that project as well with the Curtis Library. So they're well equipped to help us. So they have a new project manager, and his name is Ryan Canteras. So, but Ryan was also involved early on behind the scenes with the concept work, but I did not interact with Ryan. So once Scott left, Ryan contacted me and we had a Zoom meeting, sort of introduce ourselves and to talk about our project. So out of that meeting came a proposal for how we would work with the architects going forward on all things. So the proposal consists of the next steps, which are schematic drawings, and then I'll just go through them very briefly because there's a lot more to talk about. Design development, construction documents, and then the construction administration. So and the schematic design is really where the architectural work, where the design work begins. So we are just getting started. So we talked about the next steps, and that's what I want to talk with the board about today. So one of the crucial and important next steps is to establish a small building committee, probably about 6 members. And this committee would be a group that'll play a key role in decision making and helping to streamline the design process. So committee members should consist of individuals with experience in construction, potentially project financing, and of course, library operations. So there should definitely be staff on the committee. And the committee will participate in regular design meetings. They'll also provide input and direction as design options are developed. And then they'll help communicate progress and key decisions back to the full board as needed. And then additionally, they'll also participate in community outreach and also some maybe interactions with municipal, with the city of Bath, as far as, other things we might need as we work together, like for the Library Park Amphitheater and other parts. So this committee plays a really, really critical role as we move forward in this process. So that, we're wanting to establish that soon. I've talked with Karen Robbins, the chair of the Building and Technology Committee. So one of the things we're going to do is discuss this at the next Building and Technology Committee meeting to see how they would like to be engaged. And then I'll be coming back to the board after that to start getting this process going. So one of the early steps, even before getting the schematics going, are things like wrote it down and now I forgot. He's calling it a sort of not like a hazmat, but a survey of any potential concerns for like at the place where the new entry is going to be located and where we would be removing the old entry. So we would need like a site analysis of any hazardous materials. So that kind of work and also some additional site surveying may need to be done all ahead of the starting of the schematic work. So that's why it's really important to get this building committee going. So it's not just me, obviously, doing all this work. So one of the things we talked about then in this was we have a very loose, the project timeline. I just wanted to get an understanding of how long each section of this architectural work takes, as well as what we should have financing in hand. And so really loosely, we should have 50% money raised for this project to start the schematic work, of which we have raised. And the next big benchmark is we would want to have 80% of funds either pledged or in hand before you actually start the schematics. I mean, not the schematics, the construction drawing, excuse me. So those are kind of two big benchmarks in our fundraising, but we are certainly right at right prime time to start the continued work with the architects. So I just kind of wanted to give you, a high level overview of where we are and what our next steps might look like.
Take Leslie to convene if there's a particular corporator who's got the background and interest would be a good addition or member of this committee too, right?
Absolutely. We had, when we did the small renovation downstairs, so we used so Sally Gray's a corporator, but her husband Terry had a construction cement business for years, and he was our owner's rep for that project. So he's somebody that's in my mind right now, somebody that, and I know he's also been involved in John. I think you probably know Terry. Wasn't he on the facilities committee at the Maine Maritime Museum or do you know Terry? No? Okay. So he's got a lot of expertise. So he's but his wife's the corporator, but still, so all in the family.
Sure.
So yeah, we would absolutely look to community, trustees, corporators, and also Sally and Terry have donated very generously to the campaign, so it also makes sense that way. So if you also, that'd be great if you have any names, please send them to me if you have any ideas or if you have any interest yourself. I'd love to hear from you.
And staff too?
Yes, so there will be staff. Yes, staff. There will be a couple of staff members. I will be one, obviously. And so staff will still be involved in conversations, but at this level, at this high level of just, there's a lot of work, and there's other things that they'll be doing that's not listed. And we would have to bid for a construction company and a construction manager, that construction company. There's a lot of work. An RFP will have to be done eventually. Just a lot to it, but it's. I feel like it's it's really happening now. It's pretty exciting. So yeah, I just wanted to give you that update. Yeah. That's all I have.
Yeah, I have questions related to Thursday night.
Oh, well,
and that I don't know if now is the right time to talk about. I want to talk a little bit about the amphitheater and that part of it.
That's
it was in your thing. I don't remember. I read through everything today and I don't remember where it was. I didn't write a note on this piece of paper.
So that's
basically, I guess since we're here, and it was in your write-up a little bit. So I don't, it's in the budget as proposed by the city manager, which is good. A question that I guess I kind of have, and it may come up Thursday, or it may wait until 2 weeks from Thursday when we start horse trading. Where are we going to find the money to do X that's not in the budget?
Is this a city council meeting?
Yes, yeah, the city council.
But the 16th, it's a budget workshop.
Yeah, Thursday night, Leslie comes and.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, will be there as well.
So the question is, and I just apologize for zooming and not zooming from some of my travel. So I just want to make sure I'm clear on some things. It's in the budget now. So that's good. I anticipate, and even for myself, really, when I think about, there's something that's not in the budget that I might want to put in, where do I find $100,000? So the question is for the board and for you, is if it was put forward for the amphitheater, there's a number there. Is there a budget for that that's divided up into pieces, parts?
That's the number, the cost estimate from the architect, right, for the amphitheater project.
And I know we talked about it, but again, I've missed some meetings and Zoomed and don't have everything. So the question is if we as a council decided we needed $100,000 from somewhere and we said, we're going to give the library amphitheater $75,000 to do engineering, and planning and get drawings for budget year 2027. And we're going to hold the other 150,000 for budget year 2028 because we don't think you're going to move that fast or things are going to move that fast. Am I wrong about that? If we did it that way?
It's, so the campaign doesn't end until 2028, June of 2028. So and as we tell any donor, it's you know, or any organization, that can be done over at this point.
Right. I just, you know, like I said, it's in the budget. So if we were moving faster than I anticipated or I thought I understand, I wouldn't. But if we can hold back 100,000 until budget, you know, when we're actually got shovels in the ground, that might be an area where, you know, I can think, and you should anticipate that question coming up Thursday night from somebody else. And I may head off some of that. I don't know what my time frame will be.
It could be done either way. And I think the other thing about this, and I'll talk about it Thursday, is it's also a discrete project. It could be done separate from the interior other work.
Right, of course.
So it really could go either way.
Right. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to upset anybody in this room if based on my understanding that work's not going to happen until summer of 28 anyway, that we can postpone that. And if we need to buy somebody else a vehicle or something.
It's really how the city wants to work to do,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay. And that was my understanding, but I wanted to check before I started saying things and have anybody here thinking, you know, that I've gone rogue.
No.
Or that I didn't support the project, because I absolutely do.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
Thank you, Chris.
okay. Any other questions for Leslie?
Yeah, Leslie, one question I have, you've repeatedly, when you talk about the concept drawings, you're always very careful to point out that they are concept only, and nothing's cast in concrete yet. Once you turn the corner and start moving into the schematic drawings, things will start to solidify really fast. Would it be appropriate, and I have no idea what the right format is, but you've been getting lots of inputs from lots of different directions as you've shown potential donors, others, the concept drawings. I certainly don't have a picture of how, in my mind, of how the concepts may be changing shape as a result of all of that. Is there a point where we would get to where it would be appropriate to say, okay, here's sort of the final set of concept drawings that will take us into the next phase?
That will be the schematics, yes. Because right, the schematics, what they're gonna do is sort of, you're gonna have dimensions, you're gonna have general idea of materials. That's really what you're gonna be able to use to get your truer cost estimate. That's really gonna help us there. And then we're gonna learn what from the concepts really is gonna work. And there's some things we're kind of already discovering may not really fit exactly here. We may have to move something over here. But what's great about the concept work is we've identified the needs. So maybe this room here may have to go somewhere else for this particular reason, because it's not gonna be big enough space, but we know we still need this room. So maybe we'll move it to the, you know, those are the kinds of things that we envision probably happening. So there will be a point, I just don't know. And so the schematic design, I think, is probably, I would say, and from what I've read about it, the most important step, I think, of this whole process is, because that's really gonna solidify the overall design. Now is what you're figuring out is what of this concept is really possible and what isn't gonna work and what we're gonna have to move around and fiddle with, and you know, that's the layperson's term, but yeah, there will be some changes, we know, you know. But you know, while still keeping, you know, all the overall ideas and the needs, and I think we're gonna end up with, it's gonna be pretty amazing.
Peggy?
I'm not quite clear. How final are schematics? Are they just the next step from concept,
So
or?
they're pretty final though, because once you get done with the schematics, that's what everything is gonna be based on. That's what your next, the design work, and the construction. So the construction drawing, so the schematics, really take into, they're gonna look at the site analysis. But by the time you have the schematics, that's pretty much set then. They're gonna do some renderings out of that. They're gonna be positioned then to invest some time in renderings because they know that's what your design is gonna look like. But it will be, that's pretty set then when you get to the end of that process. And they
So-
say that's about but how long did they say? It's, I think, about an 8-week process for the schematics.
So will the committee that's going to form be involved with that?
Yes.
Because if the concepts have changed, which is what I think John's suggesting might have happened, then somebody's gonna look at all, I mean, the committee or whatever,
Yes.
before it goes to schematics. Is that the process?
Well, they'll be involved in the process of schematics. Schematics is where it's gonna change. That's where it all happens during the schematic design or where those changes are gonna be made. And so there's gonna be regular meetings, probably bi-weekly, with this committee to review it as they
Okay,
figure out, you have this plan for this space, but it's only gonna be 10 feet, by 12, and that's not really big enough to do it.
Mhm.
So that's where all of that's gonna be ironed out.
I could just elaborate on that just a little bit more. I think what's in my head is the concept drawings have undoubtedly changed and evolved and changed shape over the last few months, and I'm not clear on whether there will be some point where you'll say, okay, this is the final set of concept drawings. Still only concepts. We still have to start working the details in the schematic stuff. But still, there seems to me that there is or ought to be a clear milestone that says, okay, this is the set of concept drawings that we're going to take on to the next step to begin to develop the schematics. And I'm wondering whether does that milestone happen and who will get the opportunity to review those final concept drawings?
Yeah, so we're not spending any more money. So the concept drawings have not changed. The only thing that changed was the library park amphitheater, that work we had done. So we're no longer spending any more money on concept work. So what we have is essentially the concept work.
That helps.
There still will be staff involvement because we're gonna still need feedback and things as we go along. So, and I'll be needing, so this is what I'm gonna talk with the small committee and with the architect about probably at the same time as what we need to do then, as we see that there are gonna be changes happen. How do we get input as we're looking to say, this isn't gonna work here, this needs to be moved here. But as far as the concept work, that's complete.
I think we could say, Chuck, at least the capital campaign interviews and solicitations that I sat in on, there were no substantive changes suggested to the concept drawings. I think you had one suggestion about switching the use of a couple spaces, but the spaces themselves would still be intact. But so that was, but otherwise, people we've talked to have been very positive about the concepts.
Right, so they do, right, so when they get to starting the schematics, they are working from an understanding of some basic concept drawings, so you're correct, so they have those.
So, if nothing more on that, and we go to the capital campaign update with Rebecca.
Hello, everyone. Well, part of the reason that we're able to talk about this exciting milestone of moving into schematic drawings is just that the campaign committee and staff have been so hard at work. If you remember back in January when we all celebrated the milestone of raising $3 million, at this moment, we are now at 3,655,000 and change. So we've been incredibly busy this past quarter or so, and have had some really phenomenal, groundbreaking commitments from Bath Savings and many other donor families in our community. We've raised actually $400,000 since my last board report in March. So it's been Those things didn't all just happen in March, but all of this groundwork that's been laid over 2.5 years is starting to come together. As we've mentioned, some big things coming up this Thursday, the Bath City Council budget conversation. I had speaking as the campaign advisor, one thing I would share, Chris, is that um, the way that this conversation unfolds with the city of Bath will inform how we're able to speak with other municipalities about their campaign support. So from that perspective, delaying your response on behalf of the city by another year does actually impact our ability to stick to our campaign timeline. So I'm not sure the city's ability to plan ahead for multi-year commitments, but it would be good to know a clear answer this year about whether this portion of the project will be funded. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, and I don't think there's any doubt. I mean,
Good, good,
it's
good.
in the city manager's budget. It's just a question of,
How?
we
Yeah.
have, well, I won't say what ails me at this moment, but
Thank you. But hopefully, we look forward to celebrating with the city and dreaming how to make Library Park Amphitheater come to life. Other big things coming up in May, we're ready to approach First Federal. The president was very responsive and is excited to come in and hear about the project. We also have a big meeting with the Bath Iron Works General Dynamics communication or community committee. I can't remember what their committee is called. This is the group of senior leadership individuals who make philanthropic decisions on behalf of the company. And so they'll be hosting their May meeting here at the library. And they've given Leslie a whole half hour to talk about our campaign, and John Fitzgerald is already well in the loop and has sort of shepherded us to sort of rise to the top of many, many requests that they're receiving all the time at Bath Iron Works. So we're really excited about that. And we're continuing to sit down one by one with families who've supported the library for a long time and have those campaign conversations. So continuing to pound the pavement, as we say in the biz. Does anyone have any questions?
I'll just add one thing. We just also filed a grant request for the Davenport Trust Fund
Yes, that's right.
to fund a portion of the schematic design work. So we're waiting to hear about that.
Oh, the other thing I can say on the topic of grants is that we've just been kind of in a holding pattern on that because a lot of funders will be really clear that if you are applying for a grant related to a building project, you need a certain amount of specificity that we don't yet have with concept drawings. So once we do have this deliverable from Scott Simons Architects, the schematic drawings and more firmed up construction timeline and things like that, we're ready to deploy Cookie to do a number of grant applications. So that will be exciting as well. Well, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you around the building. Take
Yeah.
care.
Okay, thanks. Moving on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to accept the consent agenda?
Yes.
Suki, seconded Anthony, favor? Consent agenda. So the first item on the consent agenda is the monthly report from the staff. I would just add kudos to everybody who is involved, has been involved in the Envision Resilience Project. It really seems to be, it's getting publicity, I think, in the region too, and it's great to see. I saw it mentioned that our library was involved in it. Saw it in a newspaper article in the last week or so. So that's great. Also, that the PASS program is going gangbusters. That's great too. Another important thing we can talk to when we talk to our served municipalities. I confess my ignorance here in that I'm not up to date on some of the acronyms, but in Jack's report, the JMG.
Junior Maine graduates.
Okay.
class that Maria Morris does,
Okay.
like statewide, but that they do it in the high school. It's like something that the kids can participate in.
Okay,
Jobs.
okay, that's fine.
Jobs, is
And
it
then-
jobs?
Jobs
That's
for
what they
Maine
focus on.
graduates.
Right.
Yeah.
It's jobs.
Jobs for Maine.
Okay. SREA,
Saginaw Real Estate Association, SREA.
Yeah,
What
Saginaw
all they
Real
stand for, but
Estate,
that's what
yeah,
it is, yeah.
which is no longer.
and he mentioned that having someone coming to work from the University of Aberdeen. Is that the Aberdeen I'm thinking of? It's Scotland?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Wonder how that came.
Yeah, well, that's nice.
Really, there's an Aberdeen.
I also wanted to just ask, some feedback or some thoughts from the people in the development office and from Eileen as well about the unfortunately less than robust response from businesses so far in the.
Yeah, we've actually had a few since I wrote that. We had Springers actually for the first time in 16 years. Came in with a $500 gift of support, and then I was at the conference when it came in, but I was checking my emails, and the new manager there emailed me and wanted to meet and talk about more ways they could give us money and support our work. So I'm actually meeting with them, Jeremy, on Friday, and I've invited them to come to the library so they could see everything here. And so yeah, we'll meet and probably start talking about spelling bee and sponsorship and maybe a team. We'll see.
Okay, sure.
But yeah, we've had a few businesses like our Libun businesses, so we're now up to a little over 2,000 for that giving, but we're still down from what we need to raise, but gives us a few months to follow up.
All right, well, that's fortunate, but OB.
I did emails. I emailed every single one of the Libun business donors that didn't send in their support check yet with information and like how to give. Nice and easy. So that yielded a few.
All right. Other questions
I
about
have a
the?
couple of comments.
Yeah.
I wanted to remark on, in Hannah's report, she talked about some collaboration with Curtis and Freeport libraries about community resource type stuff. I thought that's great to see that going on. I don't know where that's leading or whatever, but that's
The consumables?
Yes.
that's great to see.
Yeah, it was interesting.
And I think in Elizabeth's report, like Carl mentioned earlier, I think the statistics and sort of the narrative that you put in there, I think was really, really compelling. And I think we really need to start paying more attention to that and have that steer our budgets and our messaging to our communities. I think that's a really powerful story that the usage is clearly changing. And it's great to see. So I think we should really pay close attention to that. That's it.
Okay. Thank you.
Just adding on to what Tommy said about Hannah meeting with the other libraries. I was just interested to understand a little bit more about what that would be or look like at creating a resource of consumables.
Yeah, I mean, Hannah and I have talked about it. So it's really just letting the community know, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to do it, of all the different places where you can get things. Because there's places we can find out like where can I get free food, but there's so many other things. It kind of stemmed from what are libraries offering, but what are other organizations offering? Because we're offering so many other things, besides food that people don't know about. So that's kind of where it came out of, is just where can people go to get, even I think I'm not sure if they're planning on including things like the Library of Things, but some of those things in there as well. Mm-hmm. So it's another way to advertise our unique things to borrow, or like the Bath Tool Library when it gets going, or just, things like that. Yeah, so that's as far, they're just getting started. Yeah. So I'm sure Hannah
Talking with other libraries and organizations, I think that's great.
Yeah.
And I know she made a point of, not duplicating things that may be happening already or whatever, just sharing, and that's great. I Yeah.
Building and technology, committee report, anything? I just had a question if there are any updates on, I call the EMC leftovers. Or anything new on the heat exchanger, and then there was a mention in the last report about the control system for 10 heat pumps.
So that's been resolved.
Okay.
So we are all good there. We're actually really wrapping up now. We're still waiting on I just talked with Dan, our project manager today. The HVAC people, they have the all the parts to do that, the change order for the history room, you know, the upstairs area, to put it on its own system so that it can be controlled separately of everywhere else. So because it's got its own needs, but so we're waiting to find out when that's gonna happen, but I'm now requesting the final, all the written documentation, so all the manual of all of the products used, all of those things they give you in a big binder when you complete a construction project or a project like this. So it'll list all by category, you know, where the lights came from, if I needed to buy replacements, or all of that information, where the tile, what kind of tile was used. So I'll have all of that, as well as, you know, the information on the control system and all that in one place. So that's kind of the final piece. So it's gonna be, we're essentially wrapping up, and we're gonna be paying our final 5% that we owe. We can't really hold up this additional change order, isn't really part of the original contract. So I don't feel that it's fair to hold that up in the last 5% that we owe them for this project. They understand that we'd like to, you know, complete this. So, but they really have essentially completed their work other than that document. And I'm asking, we're setting up now some additional training because I've got some more questions as I've started to work with the IV control system, you know, things come up and I wanna get some more questions answered. But, so we're just kind of waiting for Mac to give them a date of installation. All the products, all of the materials are here with them.
Finance. Any comments you want to make, Tony?
I guess, you know, one thing that we're gonna probably do in the next finance committee meeting is make a decision or proposal about the investment strategy that Beth's Savings Trust is gonna use for the McDonald Trust endowment fund. So if the board has anything that they wanna add to that conversation, we're kind of skewing towards sort of a 50-50-ish, I think, blend right now of equities and fixed income, but so that's probably the recommendation will come to the board with next month, but just to know that that conversation's happening. If you have anything you want to say about it or come to the finance committee meeting and talk about it, please do.
As Tommy wrote, the individual equities listed are held individually. So they're not part of a grouping under a mutual fund or some other merged or combined fund. And I think one question we talked about side of it is whether would it be wise in terms of expenses to throw in have a mutual fund component as well?
Yeah.
Because managing individual stocks can be pricier.
Much more expensive. I think the committee was sort of gravitating toward ETFs and mutual funds rather than individual holdings.
But as I have mentioned, it is prudent to remember that they will get their fee always. So you pay a fee in mutual funds also.
Yeah.
You just don't see it as blatantly. So there are also fees.
Yeah.
So just something to keep in mind there. There is a fee everywhere. So just something to keep in mind. In my opinion, it wouldn't be wise to make the decision to go toward a mutual fund strictly on a fee basis.
Mhm.
Because it's just not, I wouldn't say it's wise to do that. So I think we need to look at it more holistically rather than just looking at on fee basis.
Right.
So that's more for us. That's preview of what will come next month.
Well, we have our endowment in Vanguard, right?
Yes.
Yes,
And-
could that be a thing that we would think of for this kind of thing, maybe?
It could be. I would say, that started because we were given a large amount in Vanguard.
Okay.
So, and we kept it there. So that's something to discuss.
Mhm.
Yeah, we haven't gotten there yet.
Does this also
We've
become,
dealt with them for years and we've really been happy with them.
does this also become security for the mall?
Absolutely not. No, nothing more does. In fact,
Do people hear Michael's question?
he
Did not.
He asked very snidely because he knew the answer. If this became security for the loan, the answer is no, and nor does any of the anything that we earn off of what is being held as security for the loan. So no, Michael.
They didn't put in any after acquired.
Yeah, no, it's only what is currently held. So no, nothing more. In fact, this is an entirely different account held within a separate EIN. So this is a completely different entity. In fact, this is its own thing.
Yeah. All right. Yes. Any comments about the Friends report? Seem to be doing to generate this. Governance. And finally, policy and personnel.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to add, Leah?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's pretty much clear in the minutes, just that
Yeah,
we're continuing to evaluate the personnel policies and focused on a few areas. And we're also going to be working on our charter.
Okay. All right, thank you. And then in a non-snide way, I will ask Anthony to give the treasurer's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. All right, let's start with the value of the endowment as of yesterday, 4/13. It is $9,486,318.20.
Went up again.
I will remind you, we are in turbulent times.
Yeah.
Just, good and bear it here. Don't have a whole lot to say. I will say one thing I wanted to point out, and it is in our minutes from this past month's finance meeting, but one thing I wanted to mention regarding the fuel oil line under expense is that we discussed that. So we, as you may remember, we went over that line due to some issues with the air exchanger and all that. So what we had done is moved nearly all of it into the contingency of the capital campaign. What we have decided is that we should max out the fuel oil expense line in this budget and then move the overage into the campaign contingency. So you'll notice a difference when you see a P&L in the future that right now it just says $154.78. In the future, you'll see that it'll be maxed out at $17.50. We thought that was a better way to show it rather than just show $155 because we do we did budget for the 1750, so we should use the budgeted, and anything over then should go to the. So it's really just sort of a clerical thing, if you will, but something that we felt we needed to fix. So that's just one thing I wanted to point out, but otherwise, everything's tracking. Any questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
Suki.
Thinking of next year, are we gonna adjust the budget to reflect the increased costs that we?
More on that later.
Okay. Okay, we'll wait till next.
Yes, that's coming. In fact, we have a budget to amended budget to vote on. One of those items. Yeah.
Okay.
So yes,
We don't have that kind of thing to the budget proposal, so.
yeah, that's in there. Yeah.
Development.
Okay, the annual fund as of today is at $125,417 plus $6,950 in open pledges that are still to be received. That is below where we'd like to be. One of the reasons for us launching this calendar raffle, which I've been emailing about and Samantha's been emailing about, we really have to try to fill the gap between what we have right now and the goal of 155, and we have until June 30th to do it. So big push on this calendar raffle, which all of you will have a little packet over there on the table, if you don't already have it, of the calendars and some tickets. And you'll notice on the back of the calendars, it's a detail of what the value of all these gift cards are that were being raffled off in June. So hit social media, friends and family, neighbors. We would love to have all trustees participate in this. And the friends are also going to be helping sell some of this. We're going to be having a table at the May 15 and 16 Friends book sale that will need help staffing. And I'm going to be working with Brackets and maybe Shaw's on setting up another table like we did for Library Giving Day to sell more of these. So you'll notice that there's a little cheat sheet right on every calendar that says how much the tickets are going for. 15 tickets for 100, 5 tickets for 40, 1 ticket is 10. The person you're selling it to walks away with the calendar and the number of tickets purchased written in on this line. So even if they bought 5 tickets, they walk away with 1 calendar and you write on there how many tickets they have bought. So because this is a June raffle, all money collected and raffle tickets will have to be returned to the library prior to June 1st, obviously. There will be more of these available if you go through all we've handed out and have more, want to sell more. They're also selling them down at the front desk, the circulation desk. And Samantha said there's even been some tickets sold online already.
Or down at the desk
Down at the
actually,
desk.
but we also have an online option. Cookie and I will just fill out the raffle tickets if somebody wants to purchase online. So Hannah's been sharing that on Facebook on the post there, and it'll be in the e-news on Friday, and we'll just keep chugging it out.
So in my experience, having sold these for the Padre graduation that I mentioned when we first launched this is like when we had a table in Brackets lobby, like people were all over this. This was like really fun. Like if you look at it, it looks like there's a lot of really cool things to be hoping you'll get drawn for. So let's everybody try to participate, push this through and make it successful. And if it is, it'll be a model that we can use in the future, it's a pretty low impact fundraiser in terms of time and energy. So let's try to make it work. And I will be back in touch about those other dates that I talked about. Oh, sorry, Peggy, what's your question?
I'm just trying to, I was, unfamiliar with this. So we sell these tickets, so then we take, we take the money, but there's only one.
We take the ticket.
We
So-
take the ticket.
And
So
put it.
then how does the person know what they
They're
want
not
to
picking.
choose?
They're not picking. We are drawing every day, so they may get one of those 30.
Well, they can't choose which,
No.
So on June 1st, it's Bath Natural Market.
Right.
On June 2nd, it's Now You're Cooking.
Yeah.
June 3rd, Mockingbird.
So everybody's in the bucket. We draw a winner. They get the June 1st gift. And then the next day we draw a winner and they get the June 2nd gift. So it's a little bit of it's a Russian roulette of gift cards. Why do you have 30 chances to win? I mean, if your ticket's in every day, you still have an option to win. So if you buy 5
I'm having
tickets,
trouble.
you throw it in the bucket and then you have 5 chances to be pulled over the course of the month.
Right,
And-
and so a different ticket of yours goes in randomly?
They all go into the bucket at once.
Big bucket.
Big bucket.
And every day the prize
Every day
is
in
different.
June, we pull from that bucket.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I'll let you know, we're probably not gonna do it every day, we're gonna do it once a week, we're gonna pull them. Let's make this realistic, but that's how it is, and so then if you got drawn on like June 7th, you would win whatever that gift
I
certificate
see,
is.
I see.
So the more tickets you buy, the more chances you have to win the things you want.
Peggy doesn't want to staple them all together.
No,
But suppose I want certain ones, see? I don't have a choice here.
no,
No, it's-
And it's for the library.
You have to
so
buy
it's
so
all
many
good.
tickets that you win them all.
exactly, that's kind of what I would do. I would suggest somebody buy 70 tickets, really flood it.
How about keeping on selling them once we start, because that generate some interest?
We'll see where we're at if I'm able to. Once June hits, that's a whole other thing. Getting all the money tracked and all of that, like, we'll see. If it's low and we haven't sold a lot of tickets, then we might pivot and continue to sell them, but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And I'm also gonna point out that there's some Brunswick businesses that are also part of this, so it's not just confined to Bath people. There's Brunswick, if you have Brunswick people, reach out, so.
Brunswick people are allowed to come to Bath.
Yeah, they
You allow it?
Brunswick and go to Dutchman's if you win on the 15th.
Right? I got 2 from Homelia.
So we give this to the person who
Yeah,
sells
so
it.
that way they can kind of hang it on their fridge and see, we'll follow our social media as
Okay.
we post it every day. We'll contact the person they win, but yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and I will be back in touch about volunteering at the various tables that we're going to try to set up, sell these in addition to your own individual efforts. The spring appeal is being sent to print this week and to be ready for people to add notes to by the end of April. So keep an eye out for word from Samantha when those are ready to be written on. The mailing is going out mid-May. And then if you remember from our plan, we have a June phone-a-thon. Yep. We are going to be prioritizing campaign and major donors. Tentative date is Monday, June 15th from 5 to 6 p.m. here. And Samantha will be providing a script, and trustees are expected to participate in this, come in, get on the phone. Michael, I know you were really into this idea at one point, so we're expecting Michael to lead the way on this. And hopefully close whatever gap is left.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's not actually a lot, and it might be just a couple of people we're calling. Specifically, the campaign donors is what we're noticing, which we're not surprised about, but that those who gave to the capital campaign this fiscal year have not made their annual fund donation. And so there'd be a little bit of follow-up with them to remind them that the campaign can't happen if we don't continue to support the operations of the library. It's kind of really just simple reminder, and there'll be a
That's a
form.
good talking point if we have a gap.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
need to raise another $6,000, and could you help? And
Right.
even if people have given or think they have given.
Right.
Exactly. Right.
Because they have given, that's the
Yeah.
thing, is that they don't, they have given, and so it's recognizing that gift, and then. So yeah, I'm hoping the spring appeal is very successful, and we don't really have a lot of those donors to call, but. This is an all hands on year or 2 or 3.
So mark that on your calendar, Monday, June 15th at 5 p.m. and be confirmed date soon.
Okay.
That's it for me for this. Any questions?
No, anything more? Town and area school activities. One thing it's been mentioned already, but the Bath City Council budget workshop is on this Thursday, and Leslie and I will attend. So, when both the amphitheater and the annual funding request will be on the agenda.
So a question about our RSU1 representative, that's now back to being a thing, right?
Yes, it is.
My coworker, Jennifer Richmond, who serves on the board, she said they had a meeting last night, and she mentioned something to him about it, and he said he he didn't know that he was supposed to be tapping someone to come join us.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know where that responsibility lies these days with trying to make that outreach, but he said, I guess Patrick Manuel said, Steve August told us we didn't have to do this anymore. So and I think at that moment, we all thought that was going to be the case.
Yeah.
So that's just something.
Wants to do it?
No.
Or she just.
She's my connection to
Okay.
to what happened at the meeting.
Yeah, that's fine, okay. We could do well, that is similar to what we did with the rotating one.
Yeah.
So it started as a format.
Yeah.
And but address it to RC.
Perfect.
Since I'll be traveling like going to under your name. So.
I should mention the Woolwich Town meeting is gonna happen before our next meeting.
Okay.
So that's last Wednesday of April. Are we doing any outreach for people like we did last year?
Did we do, I'll have to look and see what we did last year.
We did it for Woolwich and West Bath, right? That was the letter
I
that we
know I
sent
did
out.
for West Bath. I don't know. I have to look at what I
We
did
did.
last year.
We did, we
Okay.
sent that letter that what is a library or whatever we called it, remember? We sent that out to all the patrons in Woolwich and West Bath.
So we'll have to look at what we did.
There was something in the
Make a
lobby
note.
too, wasn't?
Excuse me.
Wasn't there some information sheet or a flyer or something in the library?
So, yeah, well, there's a couple things. I am out of town that week, so I will coordinate with you getting the handouts, because all of those handouts that I've put together that were part of our funding request and they're on the board Google Drive, so we'll talk about what's needed there, and then I can also, we have sent things out to card holders through Constant Contact. So we could do that again. Sending those same types of information.
We can talk about that. The
Yeah.
department head maybe on Tuesday.
Well, that may be too late, but we'll talk about it, because I have a busy agenda for the next couple of weeks to sort of make that happen before. But, so I will coordinate with you though, Tommy, because I'm gonna need you to get the handouts to the meeting, since I won't be here.
Leah?
I think it's a good idea in some format. I did learn that the West Bath Budget Committee gave a thumbs up for a recommendation so it seems more straightforward this year, but I still think reaching out to card holders, I just think it's a healthy, important thing to do. I think it should be every year.
Yeah, great.
Maggie?
Also, in Georgetown, our financial, our budget meeting, community budget meeting is in May, I think mid-May. And that's an important meeting, because that's where more happens actually in Georgetown. So, and I think it's at a date when I'm going to be away. So it'd be really good to have something that I could send. I thought about Laura and Bray and a few of the other friends of the library to try to encourage them to attend that meeting. I usually attend it, but unfortunately it's May. Sorry, I think it may be.
So email me and I can send you the same, all the documents that I have that they, for them as well.
I mean, do we have anything that says anything about the town or participation or numbers or anything?
So it's everything you've all seen. I sent, so in the funding, the request, there was a, part of the funding request includes the numbers for the town. Each one has their own report. I also have a town report. So there's, all of that's been done, as well as a sheet on per capita comparisons for other libraries of similar size in Maine. So all of that is available to you. And I can remind you of where it is on the shared drive. I have to look and see, but that's all there for you already.
Okay.
And I can also send it to you in individual. And so that's basically a couple of those. So basically there's a cost value cost value handout that I did for each town. That also gives them numbers for the town overall and just some highlights. So I did that for each town individually. So, and they all received that as part of the funding request. So, and usually those are available at town meetings. So I just need to coordinate that. So I will need to coordinate that with you so you can send those out. So
Okay.
all of that, all those materials exist and are on the Google Drive. I need to just see where, maybe Samantha, if you could look up and tell me where, it may be under municipal, but it's all there now.
You can send a link to each rep, right?
Well, I mean, it's already there by town. I just don't, if you go to the Google Drive, the board Google Drive, it's there already. I put it there a couple of
Maybe under
board
financial.
meetings ago. You had asked for it to all be all the funding requests, which includes all that information for each town.
Does it, I can't remember, does it have the number of card holders?
Yes,
'Cause that's the one question I
all
have
of that.
gotten.
There's a
Even though that doesn't tell the whole story.
There's a 2-pager for each town that
Okay.
breaks down
Okay.
all of the statistics. So just email me and I'll make sure you have the information. Anybody else as well that wants to just know either where it is or want to see it again, but it is on the Google Drive.
Leslie, can we give them, do we give them the per capita cost and compare it with other libraries?
I have it. It's on it's on there too. So it's up to you, at your town meeting, whether you want to have that there, whether anybody's going to look at it, but it exists. I do it every year.
Board member who goes to a meeting should have that. And then maybe.
So that's, yeah, it's there. So it's a question of how many different pieces you want to have as handouts at town meeting. I think the value one is the most important, just because, I think I do on that value handout though, when I'm listing at the top what we're asking per capita, I do say what the state average is in parentheses at the end of that sentence. So though it doesn't have the breakdown, it still has the state average right at the end. So it can see that they're paying under the state average. That is on the values. So I'll send an email to remind everybody of where those live, because I did a lot of work and there's a lot of really good information there to help you all with talking points and, okay, I'll do that.
Move on to old business, which is, and we referred to this already to some extent. 26, 27.
Carl?
Oh, yeah, Leah.
Sorry, I just realized too, probably something I should have said at the beginning, but one of our West Bath corporators passed away, Margaret Totten. So I just wanted to make mention of that.
Oh, yeah.
She'd been long active in many areas of the library, very active with friends. Anyways, just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, I sent a letter condolence note to her husband on behalf of the board.
Oh, good.
Good. Thank you.
Okay. The 26-27 budget draft 4. Leslie, what?
Yeah,
You want to
I
talk
could
about
go over it, or Tommy, or
changes?
yeah, it's so a couple of things precipitated this new budget, one of which is we now will be drawing funds from the McDonald Trust, which again moved very much quicker than we had hoped. And so we're thrilled about that. So we are going to be able to get some revenue in our next fiscal year. So that was one of the things. The other thing was we knew, so we talked, as Anthony talked about fuel oil. So the air exchange system is relying on the boiler still. And so we are consistently using about 100 gallons of fuel oil a week to maintain that system. So we need to put back some money in the budget to cover fuel oil costs. So that was an area that we needed to address. So you can see the changes in the budget reflect the addition of the McDonald Trust. We also were able to look at when I start this budget process and we get into December, I still don't have the December and March quarters of the endowment value. So we're making assumptions that it's gonna at least be at a certain level. So we're able to see what those exact values were for December and March. So our endowment draw is a little bit higher than we projected, and so we're gonna draw a little more from the endowment, and in my notes, actually don't, I think it's about 6,000 and something, so we're reducing the additional endowment draw by that exact amount.
6263.
Thank you. So that's a change there. And then the carry forward is a little bit lower. After we did the budget versus actual, we realized we didn't have quite as much surplus, and so our carry forward is slightly less. And then on the expense side, we put a couple $1,000s in more, or 2,100 to be exact, for the bookkeeper, as this bookkeeper is going to assume about an hour a week more responsibilities in making sure that she enters in all of our bank transactions so that we don't have the problem that we had with the accountant. So that's going to be additional duties that she will have. So that will be enough hours for her to do that work. So that will take care of that and make our financial review and 990 so much smoother next year. Very excited about that. And then of course we added more to the fuel oil. We added a couple $1,000 to the building supplies. We realized that prices for paper towels and toilet paper have skyrocketed. We're really seeing that go up in the past year, so we needed to account for that. We didn't really budget enough, so this gave us a chance to fix small things like that. Let's see, what else did I miss? Oh, so one of the other nice things is what the McDonald Trust, allows us to do overall is use it for books. So that being said, we put a little bit more to the materials line, the adult materials line. So and again, we're being conservative on the amount that we have that we're drawing from the McDonald Trust for this year, but depending on how the finance committee and the board choose to the investment strategy we choose could there could be more income in the future. Did I miss anything?
I have a question, Leslie, on the Bath Historical.
Yes.
It went from 10,000 the last fiscal year to 6,000 this fiscal year, 6,000 in the upcoming
That's correct.
fiscal year. And what was the reason?
So they are now, because they pay rent to they have a customs house, at their last board meeting, they decide how they were gonna fund the library. They were going to do it based on 3% of the value of the endowment at what period. I don't know how they're calculating that. So that's gonna be approximately about 6,000 every year. So that
They took some things from the library. They take some materials and put it in their new facility at the customs house.
Yeah, so the customs house, I actually haven't been there yet, but some of the things they've taken are like 3D objects and also their supplies and their minutes, their organizational collection, their minutes, old newsletters, all of the things that pertain to the organization is now being housed there rather than in the tower. And a little bit more to come as we work through this process going forward. I know in Jack's report,
Actually, that was a question I was going to ask. It seemed that the Historical Society wanted to transfer a fair amount of stuff to the library. Will we have enough space for that?
Yeah, we even before this has been something that's been going on for probably a couple of years. So when we entered into conversation, we had a lot of in-depth conversations with them about what linear feet, how much space, what types of things to make sure that we could actually that we could take these collections. So we're quite comfortable with this, what they have. Yes, and there's certain things we are not going to accept, and we sort of outlined that already with them.
Are the materials already cataloged?
None of them. So that's another thing. They're not. So it was always our practice that, they didn't belong to us, so we were not going to, right. And that was another reason why I was very hesitant in accepting or even considering these collections, because this came up some years ago. The one thing we've learned though are some of their collections, there are some things that are cataloged that we did not realize was their collection. And they're things that get used quite a lot. So to separate them out would have been quite a thing, and some of these are irreplaceable items, out of print items that we do use. So we felt that it was actually better to keep the collections together. One of the other things that Bath has, Bath Historical, like they have some of the SREA items, and we have some. So we've got two, collections that are owned by two different, or really should be
Same collection.
should be owned by, right. So there's benefits and there are some drawbacks. So there are definitely things we're gonna have to work on. One of them I see in the future is we're really going to need probably to look into some grants to hire, some professional librarians to do some cataloging of these collections.
They could also make an internship. It's a great internship.
Right, internship, like I know Jack, right, he's got someone now that's like processing collections, doing some finding aids. That's the first step, identifying what you physically have. And then from there, then somebody else like a cataloger or professional can go and do the next step. So yes, so there are.
Isn't this one's working on mostly the art, I think, this summer.
This summer?
Yeah.
Oh, right, the one, right, it's
Jackson
gonna be
Falls, yeah.
fully inventory. Robin did an inventory for me of the art that we had, but it's not, it needs to be moved to a different format and then kind of taken to the next level. So, and we do have some, quite a few unprocessed collections, and that's always true in an archive. So that's something that we own. So that's something we're, constantly trying to chip away at.
Yes.
Do we have to act on it?
Tell me.
I would entertain a motion that we approve this new budget.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we got
Okay.
very sidetracked.
Seconded, all in favor? Right. Okay. Approved as modified. Is there anything, looking about the warming and cooling center, as we heard from Judy?
Yes. Give you the short of it is that Judy did respond. She's been in trial, so she did have time to finally respond to the MOU, and she had one big concern. The other things were minor. She just had a couple of questions about the use of library supplies, for if you had a huge influx of people coming in. And as we do know, the schema, the county, they will provide us with supplies, water and things should we need it. But it was just a question more than anything. She just one suggestion she had was that we should, the daily utilization reports that she suggested, we ask that they give us more than 21 hours, just a longer period to respond. Her biggest one was Article 6. Which talks about liability.
Yeah.
And yes, so the Patent Free Library agrees to hold harmless and indemnify the county. So as you know, I had reached out to our insurance broker with it, who had no concerns about this at all. Judy had concerns saying that because she didn't think that our insurance covered and indemnify the county being indemnified. And so I went back to our broker and asked the question again. And she said that it did. And she, showed me, she gave me the language from the contract, which I then shared with Judy, who disagrees. So at this point, so what I finally did, so we have that going on. I did ask yesterday, and I haven't heard back, whether the county would consider removing that article from altogether. So I'm this is where I'm at. So I'm just the messenger at this point. I'm sharing, so I don't know. I've asked whether they consider removing it. I doubt they will. I'm not really sure what to do. I could try to, we worked with Elizabeth Gray, who's now working for Edward Knight. I could try to have a conversation with another broker there. I just don't really know.
You could ask the broker if the underwriter will give you a letter of assurance.
Okay. All right, let me write this down. The underwriter.
Letter of assurance that will cover that.
Okay, so we ask broker if underwriter would give a letter.
What's funny is the town of Woolwich has been doing warming and cooling centers from the county EMA for years, and there is no MOU at all. between Woolwich and,
So, and if Phil Davis from the county says they'll remove it, then it's
That's
sort of.
good too.
Yeah, it's good too. I would start with that. I'm gonna wait till I hear back from him.
Sure.
So would you like me to report, or would you like to make a recommendation, or based on,
They serve us anyway, Tommy.
Well, Judy's your counsel, so just tell her,
They're Saginaw,
tell her what I said
Saginaw
before you
services,
just go ahead and do that,
service the municipality.
ask broker if underwriter would give a letter of assurance
of coverage
of coverage.
for that particular.
Yeah, but
And then, but I would tell Judy that I said, run that by Judy first.
Okay, to run this by Judy, whether she thinks we should do that.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Or if that would make her more comfortable.
That would make her work, because she said that she did not think that
Okay.
that was correct with what I got from it. So so would you like me just to report again next month?
That's
I'd say
it.
so.
Okay,
Yeah.
keep it under old business.
Well, yeah, we'll have,
It's not
hear
gonna-
back from
It's getting warmer, but not.
the county, from the insurance. company.
Not worth the cooling for
Wait till 4 o'clock.
I don't need the warming anymore. So yes, I will continue on and report back.
Interesting.
Next item under old business is the mission statement. We have a nice collection of draft language.
High five. No, we asked the staff if they would like to comment on their mission statement, because things, they're the ones who are actually doing the work. And I guess and John probably would concur, that we want to know where the board wants to go with it.
Can I ask a question first? What's the purpose of changing the mission statement just by itself without part of, when we write this mission statement as part of strategic planning and looking ahead and all of that. So, and it's on all of our materials and everything. So
It started when Carl wanted to put the mission statement on everything, and I think that something came up and they said, why, we don't like this, we don't like that, so. Right, John?
Prior to even becoming the chair, previous chair had identified some things that actually under our standard policies that we would, as a board, review periodically. And one of them was the mission statement.
Yeah.
And so that, and by looking at it again, and I had a few quibbles about it, the current one. And I guess that's snowballed to a bit. And
Yeah,
other people started
exactly.
coming, and that's where it's
okay,
gone
because I
on.
thought, okay.
I think at this point, since my personal opinion at this point is that now we're in the middle of the campaign, let's not mess with it until we're done. It's on, as Peggy says, it's on everything. If we're comfortable enough with keeping on with it, we can have it come back after we get the capital campaign sort of under our belts.
That would be
Exactly.
2028.
Oh, okay, well, what do you think, John?
I mean,
Conversation earlier.
We can always come first,
the
yeah.
point of the exercise is to review
Yeah.
the mission statement from time to time.
Yes.
Then let's review it and say, we think it should do something different. Like say what it is that's wrong with it. And then embark on this process with that input in mind and make an informed decision to accomplish the fixing of what's wrong with it.
I thought we had done that already.
Yeah, we've been going over this for quite a while.
Yeah.
I
Like
feel
once you
bad for
start the
you.
process, you can tweak it to
Yeah.
Kingdom Come,
Yeah.
and we can keep doing this.
Looking at all
At some point, you just have to say, that's the one.
Yeah.
I mean, we have some wonderful suggestions. We really do. I think I don't wanna lose them. But to me, it doesn't make sense to keep on going down this path right now, given where we are. Do you think the staff would be comfortable with that?
Which other people?
You're saying just keep it as is.
Yeah, keep it the way it is until we get done with the capital.
I agree. This is a statement that we pushed out to everyone and to switch midstream, I think is bad optics. And if we want to come back and review it after, do so. And then we get another charge that every year, certain month of that year, we review it.
Yeah.
And tweak it as need be. But I think that we have enough to do right now.
That's what engendered this whole thing. Because we had not done that for a number of years. So
And I think that maybe we table that till after the capital campaign's over, and then on a yearly basis, we review this. And by the way, word joyful is now American Library Association. They're pushing that as the word for the next 5 years. I'm just saying.
That's what started it all.
Really?
National Library Week.
Oh,
It's,
that's
what
a
is
good-
it, Library Sparks Joy or something? That's their
Yeah, so
tagline.
they are pushing that.
That's the one that
That's the
started
word
it
that
all.
bothers
That-
me.
well,
That is.
this is my brother's not being in a library professional. It transforms lives. That's what got me. That's why I suggest enriches lives.
I think the library transformed my life. Transformed it as a
I
young
was a high
child.
school
I think it's,
librarian, we transformed lives. Yeah.
it took the first time I heard an opera recording,
Well-
that's just when I decided I was gonna be an opera singer, transformed it. It's like, yeah.
That's why we have the discussion, so.
So one thing I will too add to this is a couple things with this exercise, well, it's great, and because I think it gives the board a chance to then go back to aspirational goals of the library. It gives you a chance to look at the vision, like to really think, what is it about the mission that resonates with us? And so I think it's good to have the
I
discussion.
think that's why the staff I love the staff responses. I think they were really powerful, a lot of them.
And I know from having done 2 strategic plans with the library, that the mission always comes up as your first
thing.
The first thing, how do you feel about, or do we wanna make
Yeah.
any change? Do we wanna spend some time on this? And so.
Campaign is gonna lead to
Right.
another strategic plan.
Oh, they're
We're gonna be a
right.
whole new library.
think so?
It will be.
Oh, yeah, I mean, so that's a good change. So we should be, all of these notes then should be,
Suki, you are the archivist and custodian of all this input,
No pressure.
and it's not lost.
No, I'll give it to somebody at the library to file.
Well, is there is there consensus now that we have done a review, and seems to the more or less majority view is that review has been done, and we don't want to try to change the current mission statement at this time. Is that accurate?
Mhm.
All right. I don't have one.
So moved.
Motion, Iggy seconded. All in favor of retaining the current mission statement?
Till after the capital campaign.
Okay.
I love that the American Library Association is now pushing joyful. I think that is really.
Suki, thank you. You've been on
Thank
this
you.
for a
Well,
while.
John too. John is really helpful, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's great. Thank you. Opinions, that's very good to have. Last thing, this is a follow-up to the continuation of the student library card issue. I thought, and you saw the message that I sent out with your input to the staff. So I think, tell me if wrong or give me your suggestions, that we want to continue to pursue this and figure out a way to address this that satisfies, there's a way to satisfy all the various competing valid interests about this. Underlying it, I think, is the agreement in principle that we want to make the library available to all the students that are under the umbrella. So in that case, I would think it would be, we need some consultation among or between the staff and trustees to try to come up with some practical solutions to this. Ways to consider ways forward.
Right.
So the financial, as well as, of course, the considerable equity issues. So does that sound like, we're talking very broadly right now, as a way to pursue this, because we do want to pursue it.
I know we're a unique kind of model, how we're incorporated and how we work. I'm just wondering if there's any other libraries that perhaps we could consult with that are in a similar type of situation and see what they do.
So we do have in the packet of information that we did some research on some other libraries. We're actually doing a little more too, but for example, like the Topsom Library. So here, this was an example, and it's actually in the packet that we sent the board, but they have their staff and their director is also working towards getting, they have the same issue. So they have SAD 75, because I live in Topsom, and that's Bodenham and Bowden. And so those kids come into Topsom for school, but they don't have access to the Topsom Library. So what their board did, they're in transition, and I don't know I'm keeping my eye on this, and I actually had a long conversation with their new library director about it. So the board, they decided to have a reduced rate, card rate for those students, for a student rate, which doesn't solve the problem. But that was the sort of concession for now. I don't know, she's still hoping that the board will decide, but and then there are other towns that do give, like, I think Curtis, sure. And there's some other libraries, they're on that list that do just give cards to they have Harpswell. Yeah. But they any students, so in their service that goes to a school in their service area, like St. John's and all. We've done some research on what other libraries do. And for the most part, we would say libraries, they give cards free of charge.
The same type of financial model though?
So Curtis, Harpswell pays into Curtis. But Harpswell gets, so the difference in the model is that Harpswell, Curtis gets much better funding through the town and from Harpswell. But they are in the model where they do get funding from Harpswell, and they still give free cards.
Chris,
I am very late to this conversation, and the feeling that I got in reviewing the materials was that the concerns with this were largely around that doing this might tax the system, or there would be a perception that it would tax the system and that would jeopardize funding. Mm-hmm. And that being the case, it seems like, I don't know if it would be appropriate, probably not. It would want to be a separate conversation than the budget conversations and the asks that are going on now, but that speaking with the funders, whether if that's what people's hang up is then you just ask the funders, would this give you any pause if we gave, estimate how many cards it was to students, would you have a problem with that? Would that?
But it's the people who vote, right? Not the budget.
I think
committee,
you're right.
so
And that's what I would say.
never-
We need to ask the people that, because every funder, those are 5 votes at town meeting. It's the 100 that are there. And I believe that of the 100, they would still vote to support. The 5 there might not, and there are only 5 of the 100. So that's really where I believe that if they would see that as a strengthening for the library, that this library is doing what we believe is right, and even so.
I mean, these other conversations are fine, but we're not gonna, in this room, discussions between trustees and staff isn't gonna answer that question, whether it puts the funding at jeopardy or not. And that's just something that can be asked in a diplomatic, whatever Anthony's, not in a Michael way.
Not snidely.
I wasn't gonna remind anybody. I was forgetting the word. Thank you.
That's what he said.
I think so too.
Skadumpa, which has 3 towns, also provides local students and teachers with any ID with a free library card. So another closer to us situation. They have the 3 communities that all pay in relatively equally.
I just have one question. So if we form a committee, or is there a future where you see this coming back up for a vote, or is this like a done deal that we are now finding a way to work through this? I guess is my question. Is essentially this conversation over and now we're just figuring out how to move forward? Or do you ever see a point where there'd be another board vote on it?
I think from the vote, it's, everybody agrees with it in principle, absolutely. I mean, we'd like to be able to do it, except we're worried.
So, but that vote is still, it's to me, it's sort of black and white. We either do it or we don't do it. Is there ever any chance for going back to vote on whether we're gonna do it?
There's a reason.
Not in principle, but we're gonna do it.
If we come up with
If
something.
there's a reason to change, then
Then we can-
I imagine we would vote on
Yeah.
it again. Like if that committee came up with some ideas about path
Okay.
forward, one of those could be to go to every town and say, by the way, we're thinking of giving all students free cards. Are you select board members 100% on board with that proposition? And if that happens, maybe that opens this back up again. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That's what I see too.
Things like collaborating with other libraries, or getting a grant, or creating a fund, or doing something
Yeah.
like that too. It would be another
right,
path you could
that
go.
doesn't change the board vote though. That just gives us something.
but if we
Right,
don't
that's
have
what
to-
I'm wondering.
Way of accomplishing it.
This is the way forward, as I said in the message, to try to find a practical way to resolve it, not to bring the issue up again with no changes.
Right.
I don't see the point of that at this point. We just voted last week, rejected it.
But
So,
if we come up with another solution, then there would be another vote. I mean, I hope there would be.
oh, sure.
Depends on what the solution is, right? I mean, if it's to get a grant, then we're not saying students are gonna have card, we're just funding it, so there's no vote to be had. So that's what I'm just wondering.
I think there would be just a way to describe what would have to be endorsed, how we were gonna do it. After the board has its concerns, whatever step forward should be board approved. Leah?
Yeah, I guess I agree with Tom. I like the idea of just continuing to get more information. And one thing is, during a sensitive time when you're doing your budget ask, I don't think it's the right time to. I think when it's more of a neutral time, but I think just asking towns and figuring out the best way to see what their feelings would be. But I think it's also the idea that I just found that getting the input and the information that staff gathered, it really did change my mind. So I do feel like it's for the board to feel, I guess, to take a risk. So I know that that's maybe not the right practical attitude, but I think we might be surprised if we were to reach out to towns and figure out a way to do that, to get more information and have a more creative solution. But I think that's going to take a few months.
That's exactly what we're saying. We're not saying we're gonna bring up the issue as it stands right now and vote on it again right after we voted at a vote last month.
Right.
I don't see.
Right.
No, that's not what I meant, but down the road is what I'm asking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it's see
I would-
what our options are.
Yeah, if the landscape changes.
Yeah, sure. I
Absolutely.
think we would actually want that
Yeah, I was
because
gonna say,
consider this a pending issue.
yeah, I hope we come up with something.
Yeah. So this is a way to try to do it.
I mean, wasn't there a West Bath corporator who specifically said this is not gonna fly in West Bath? Didn't somebody say that?
That was key.
No, it was the city council,
Oh.
their select board member.
Oh, so yeah, select board, yeah.
Select
So
board
that's
member
the
that-
flag right there.
But
like
defend
that.
for the.
Yeah, but it wasn't,
Which
The
is
new
3
board member?
people.
Is that the new board member?
Yeah, she said for the select board of West Bath, it would not fly.
Yeah.
But that's not the
And that, I mean,
hundreds
that's
that
just
show up.
getting a pause, right? We just don't want to
Exactly. Exactly. Okay.
put up our noses by our face, so to speak.
So wait, so before we leave this issue, what is the next step? What are we?
That's what I wanted to bring up. That's why I wanted to bring it up to see. I think I suggested I know everybody loves working groups or more subcommittees, but to take on and ideally involving the staff and some of the trustees to say, you know what the issues are, here are some ways to address the issues, address all the issues that were raised at the last meeting. I mean, let's come up with some practical solutions, possibilities. It may be, maybe in the end, we decide, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead, and we'll just ask the various municipal governments whether this gives them any heartburn. But I agree that doing that while they're still weighing our budget for this coming year was not the best timing. So.
It ties back to our current mission. Transform, inspire, preserve, and build community. And RSU 1's going through some huge budget cuts, particularly in some of the school libraries.
Yeah.
And students are feeling it, and they have voiced concerns. I think our argument goes back to the mission. And
Fill a void.
yeah, we do transform students' lives. We do inspire, hopefully, lifelong learning. We do preserve local pride and history. We do build community. And through that, there's joyful creative expression for all of our students. I love going to the children's library section on Saturday at just Lee. And after our high school library closes at 3 or 3:30, I have a group of students that comes here because it's the place where they belong.
Right.
And I think that we could tell those stories and have kids tell those stories. I have students who live in Phippsburg who would love to have a library card here and can't. So possibly we use student voice to sell what we all want for our kids.
And maybe the Phippsburg government should step up and pay for them.
One would think, but that's a whole other issue
Yeah,
right now
that's-
with RSU 1. But
That's the dynamic.
But I'm thinking it doesn't hurt for students to advocate for this. Yes, they should. Of course they should, but they don't. But they care about their kids. And that comes out loud and clear in the last two public hearings for the school board budget. And I think that possibly we need to think about this differently and add student voice to the campaign too.
Good idea.
Yeah, and I agree, and I think one other thing, just the last thing, I know we beat this, to the ground, but these students, when we're turning somebody away, that we say you can't check out these items, you have to think about what it's doing to that child, what it's doing to that kid, how they're gonna think about libraries going forward, and how they are the future of the trustees, they are the future donors. What kind of example are we setting when we turn people away?
Their parents are the current.
And to
donors.
me, there is nothing in this world that's worth it. Nothing. And so, what I'd like to finish what I'm saying, please. This is the most important thing. And we're turning kids away. And I don't want to do that.
Let's find a way to accept them that addresses all our concerns. So, that being said, we have volunteers to work on this issue more. Chris, John, Suki, Elizabeth.
Right. Yeah.
And Leah. Okay. Or did you volunteering, Leah, or you have a question? Okay. All right. So we'll leave it to you to re-examine this issue and assemble the facts. see what we can do, and maybe we decide, to just try persuasion rather than anything else. And a well-timed persuasion. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Allison was gonna talk to somebody in February.
Oh,
Yeah, she,
Allison, yeah.
yes, she did. I was hoping, my impression was that she did not get any urgent,
Yeah.
I didn't either. I talked to one of the selectmen.
so.
That's the other thing, right? Trying to do an end around, like what's going on here?
Yeah, exactly.
Library, so.
Well, I mean,
That's what I got
That's-
back.
Yeah.
That's
that's
exactly
their
what I got back.
shortchanging their kids.
Exactly.
So. The next meeting, by the way, will be May 12th or 30th.
All right.
If there's nothing more, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Anthony. Suki, in favor. Thank you.
And don't forget to pick up your packet of
Yeah.
Okay.
raffle tickets.